There's nothing special about me. What's special is about the business blueprint and data we use to support scaling flexible office brands. We have spent years of time and experience refining our approaches and processes. Within this 20 minutes that we're going to have now, we can't give you everything regarding growth strategies. So this is a whistle-stop tour. So get ready to buckle in and let's go. I do want you to get the most out of this session, so please do get involved and minimise distractions. So let's go then. Maybe you're here today and you can relate with some of these pain points with growing a flexible office brand. The business runs you. Maybe you don't have enough time to do all those things you want to do. And as a result, you're not spending the time with your loved ones. When you get home, you're giving your loved ones the rest of you and not the best of you. And this has really got you stuck in a crossroads. With so much uncertainty, you're reactive. You're stressed. You're unable to get to those quadrant 2 tasks, those ones that are in that sort of time management course that show that important but not urgent. They're the really strategical ones and they're just not getting done. There's so much pressure on you and yourself, and it's hard, especially at the moment with raising funds. I was just listening to Jerry Alexander's podcast with Freddie from Patch, and he went out to 250 different people really with fundraising, so that's hard at the moment. Others are conflicts of interest, especially with this industry we find, you want to look after the planet, the people, the local community, you want to be inclusive, but you also need to be profitable. And that means hard decisions. And as a result, you're working more and more hours in your job or your business. Can you relate to this? By the way, if you want to make decisions with confidence, have that more time and achieve success, the way by doing this is by following a proven system. So I think it's always we want to look at the roadmap. So where would you like to be? If you're anything like me, you want to have a roadmap and know that direction. So are you a flexible office business that is growing by adding on locations? Well, this is our sort of niche, I would say. And if you are looking to scale what you've done, we're always looking for those next sort of supercharged office brands to work with. Just looking at the slide here, there's a messy middle in the middle. We call it the messy middle. There's many different challenges you'll face with running a flex office business. And we find there's a sweet spot, sort of 20 employees, maybe 4+ locations. And you're too small to have lots of specialist department and experts, and you've been growing organically. And you need more seasonal professionals, but then you haven't got the sort of revenue to justify it. That's where we often come in, and we find that's where those growing pains are, and really building that strong business model is needed, and that brand as well. So how do you start and scale a flexible office business? Of course, there are no guarantees, but you want to know how to get there, and we want to, of course, make sure you're successful. But there's no guarantees in life, I would say. Staggeringly and shockingly, 22% of co-working spaces are unprofitable. So I think we just need to look at those stark statistics. This was from Desmag co-working survey and presented at Porto at Coworking Europe, November 2023. Do note that it's more the co-working end of the market, and the small part of the representation came from the sort of more the flex office businesses there. But I think also we need to say Juicy conference in London, that was September 2023, 75% of people actually voted and said that profitability is one of their biggest concerns at the moment. So it's a big one. We do need to, why I put this slide in, we do need to sort of really think about profitability. It's also excluded the ones that quite a few co-working spaces do say it isn't their mission to be profitable, and they've been excluded. And I find this shocking, 48% unprofitable or breaking even. But the things we can do, and I think this is the one where I think just having that stark reality and then looking at how you really become profitable and grow and scale a flex office business here. These results here with the research aren't really surprising. It's very much you need to have economies of scale to increase your chances of profitability. That means you need to have a scalable brand. So age, I would say, we've looked at the buildings and locations. It does take a while, to get a building up and running into full occupancy. We often say 2 years with Spaces to Places. Size also a big factor. You do need sort of 8,500 square feet locations minimum, and ideally much bigger, and that's what we find with the brands really scaling there. The logical, more members, more likely to be profitable, occupancy the same as well, and chain size. And of course that's why we're all about sort of scaling flexible office businesses as well, because the more locations, the more likely to be profitable, and really increases your chances. So I think that was the big learning for myself with this research, and really wanted to share with you there. So how do you get there? I think you want to know how you create this, flex office business that's scaling. We all want replicable and reliable growth, and unfortunately, I think the thing for me, it's not like a product or like a tin of beans on a shelf. Where you get standardization, it's really easy to get standardization. Our sector's much harder than that. We've got many more sort of dimensions and variables and factors to play in. Property is complex, so it isn't like a FMCG product on a shelf, and so we need to bring all these factors into decision making as well. There is nothing special about me. What is special is the processes we follow. We've built up this for over 20 years. I've been in commercial property as well, working with property-based brands, learning and perfecting, how to scale these brands. And so let me introduce you to the 4 levels of property branding. Very much originally in marketing, we had the 4 Ps, and then we had the 7 Ps of service marketing. But property is so much more complex, hence we've got 15 Ps plus, and we've really put these into 4 different key areas to show you. So discover a brand new way and prove a model that's really simple that anybody can follow. That's why I say this model is one we've used time and time again. This model creates understanding of your critical success factors, your secret sauce, and where your sort of weaknesses lies. We find a common problem with businesses often that they take a departmental view. It's very much talent or HR team, the people team there. You've got the finance, then you've got the operations, you've got sales and marketing. And with this model, it brings together a much more holistic approach. It's not about being departments, and it's really viewing the business much more as a whole, and the whole brand, and how everybody impacts on the brand as well. So this model was created there. It's about being proactive. I think that's a huge one for us, and that scalability as well, that the direction that you're going. So if I quickly walk through the different levels, what we always say at the first level, you need property to be creating a property brand. So very much the physical is the first element that we bring together, the first level there. And this is about what's in the portfolio there, how you're managing your portfolio. It might be 1 location, it might be 500. The first part, the buildings, what does the physical evidence say? What do those buildings, even the outside, is it, where are their locations? Thinking about out of town business park, office space versus an urban office space, totally different locations and settings and different factors there. And then you think about the products as well, breaking down the property, thinking about what are you actually offering inside. Are you more virtual offices, co-working, that pay-as-you-go much more model, or are you sort of much more managed service offering, taking a minimum of 20 desks, size offices, sort of like a Mayo or something like that with Lancet, where they have a minimum requirement there. So there's a huge variety there with the product even that's offered. So you need to know what your property is and your product's offering. And then the next stage is you really think about that service, or we called it provision there. Those are the intangibles. This is about the people that work for you, but also the people using your space, the end customers, the end users, and how they interact with each other, because that relates to experience and service. We've then got the processes, and that's very much those platforms or those systems, what you're using to bring it all together and how that really delivers a service. And then we've got placemaking, because the whole ecosystem that the building doesn't just exist in your service. You have a local ecosystem, i.e. connecting with the council locally and joining up in partnership with them. So that's another factor that really comes into those intangibles that are offered. The next level is really the packaging. How are you packaging this up, and what are the end consumers really perceiving? Are they perceiving with your pricing and positioning? Is it good value? Is it not? How are they seeing you? The promotional channels that you're using. This is where we see, sort of call it much more packaging up. So you're packaging what you're providing and how you're presenting that to everybody. So that's the packaging side. And the final bit is the relevance. Continually, you need to be relevant and stay relevant, and that's about the performance. So the final level that we put is performance, that relates to all the other levels as well. But one with performance that we've highlighted, it's property partners as well. This is in some ways such a sector that it's about frenemies. Sometimes your enemies can be your friends as well. There's lots of joint working. You're working to get lots of other buildings with agents, or you're working with very much the channel, those aggregators as well, that are bringing in leads and inquiries for you. So that's where we see with the performance there, we've highlighted property partners. Planning is crucial as well. Where do you want to go next? Your locations, how you operate them, and really having that roadmap is key that we see with performance side. And then we really put out profitability. And actually we've started with that one where I've gone profitability and showed some of those statistics. That is a crucial one, and looking at the productivity. So always being able to monitor that is crucial. So that's how we've broken it down in a sort of digestible 4 levels. I think with those 4 levels, what's really good is to analyse your own brand. It's very much always a good time to take stock. So it's a quiz we've got here. I would say if you want to pause this video at the moment and do the quiz, that's probably the best thing. Just pause. It's 24 questions to give you a self-analysis score. It takes about 3 minutes to complete. Average ones at the moment, we're seeing some of them coming through, it's 2 minutes to complete. So I would say just have some quiet time, get involved and complete this branding quiz, and then we can look at the results there and go through it. And it all relates back to those 16 Ps and the model there with the different levels. So here's a link. It's also down below to check out the link. So how do you get there fast? On the left is a really low score, on the right a high score. Hopefully this gives you a quick snapshot really of your strengths and areas to improve. This is only a light touch model. There's loads more that we would ask, and we would formulate a roadmap with you. So we've also got below, very much you can book a call with myself if you want to go through your results. There's limited places each month, so do get ready and just book in really. We can analyse where you need to be going with your brand from some of these questions and explore it further. So it's a good chart there to go through and relate back. Would you agree that you need focus and simplicity? I think hands up, yes, for me. This is always probably some of the harder ones for me, is keeping it focused and simplicity. Always a brand is a simple idea. It's an idea simply expressed. That is what top level branding for me is all about, and also relates to business models. And this is a quote there from Steve Jobs saying, simple can be harder than complex. You have to work hard to get your thinking clear and simple, but it's worth it in the end, because once you're there, you can move mountains. So this is a big one for us. And with the results that you'll have with that survey, do participate. If you haven't, fill it in. It gives you a structure of some areas to focus on that can be super helpful, and that's what we're trying to really want to help you with, is giving you that focus and clarity so you can scale. A shining example really of a brand for us is Premier Inn in the UK, that scores really highly sort of across all those different areas, those 4 levels and the 16 Ps. They've got consistency, they've got processes, and it's got simplicity as well. Premier Inn, people know what it stands for. Very much it's about, great value at low prices. That's the thing that they've always really have that leadership in the UK for the big one for us, that brand, 99% direct bookings. They have low cost of acquisition. The brand is so strong, especially for the hotel industry. They're not going through these aggregators at all. They're able to pull customers direct. So really strong there. These are some articles there from Retail Week really showing that success on with their statistics. They're able to choose the right locations, the right format. So they've really got their product right from the start. That, with the first one we've talked about with property, they're working out the right formats as in those locations, and they're seeking those ones out. They're not doing everything. I think for me, one of the interesting things is that they work with others in the Whitbread Group, Brewers Fayre, Beefeater. So they focused purely on beds and your night's sleep there. They're not trying to do loads of different things at all. They're really clear on what they offer and excelling in that, and really clear with their customers what they're not doing. They've got a sort of pricing strategies. They call it their trading model. So they know when people book and when to put up prices. They know all their locations as well, and which ones, they can put premiums on, and which ones they need to discount nearer the time if they're not filling up. So they really work on those pricing strategies with occupancy. So really sophisticated with their performance. They've quoted there in some of these articles that brands increased their profit by 556% in last year. So staggering there. That's why I think they're really good to look at. And they've got that consistency of focus. Like I said before, what they stand for. If you want a value offering in the UK for somewhere to stay, Premier is one of those, and you will go direct. So I think it's now looking at business models as well with focus and simplicity here. I think let's learn from IWG. We can learn a huge amount from IWG and their business models. So I think for me, the first one to ask you is, what do you think is the price difference between Regis and Spaces? Just looking at, say, they're competing directly in a UK market, what would be the price difference there for a desk rate? Where you're thinking, I'm going to give you no answer. So it's actually 42% price difference. So Regis being the cheaper offering there, usually 42% lower than Spaces. They have two different brands within their portfolio. I think for me, if we analyse Regis, it's very much about businesses who want to control. They want lower price points as well. It's much more a Ryanair model. It's standardised. If you want extras, say you want car parking, IT, you want coffee, you buy a coffee card. There's lots of add-on prices into their model, but they're focused on a lower, point of entry in the basics there. They have less communal space, but they have a wide network. I think that's the big one. And they have some older building stock. So that's where I would say with their business model there. But for businesses, for standardisation, knowing what they get. And it was very much built from people, travelling salespeople that wanted to know one location to the next, that they could have an office space and knew the level that they would get there. So hugely important with processes there, I would say, with Regis. Spaces is much more for businesses about enjoyment. They're much more focused on, tech startups, creatives, freelancers. They have on-site cafes there with Spaces brand. There's more communal space. There's more staff. There's higher interior design, much more that Scandinavian feel. So they're both servicing different markets there and sometimes competing directly, but they have really strong business models. That's a key one for us. We want you to be successful, and we work with investors on the other side, of course. This is an example when we worked with Boost & Co, now called Growth Lending, and we worked with them when they went into when the Clubhouse London went into administration. And sort of fast forwarding now, Growth Lending holds a minority sort of share in Clubhouse London. But if we look at their journey, I think we can learn a lot. They had one location, the Clubhouse London. It was a great business model, but expanded too quickly, taking on some ridiculous leases. There was pricing confusion with different free types of membership. They didn't really use brokers. They focused on co-working. It turned into a bit of a vanity project. And then when IWG came in, they did then close 2 sites as well. that was quite interesting. Often we say sometimes, say no with striking a deal, say no to over 50%. I think there's always that rush to expand too quickly. Work on sort of occupancy to break even, much lower, sort of 45% say and stuff. Think of a 10-year investment case. I think really work on the numbers. We talk about profitability and stuff because we do see it from the other side, and there's some great business models out there, but you really need to make sure that they all line up together, as well as providing great service. I think that's so much great service in this market as well, so we can learn lots from that. For us, we're working with lots of different clients. I think I'm just going to highlight a few areas of popular services. We do a brand accelerator. We have basically our Flex Index that we're looking at different brands there. We're launching in September a London report there about those brand critical success factors we've been looking at. So we do analyse and use this tool as well. So if you're interested in that, do get in touch with our brand accelerator. We have a lead accelerator as well, very much with getting direct leads. And so our three favourite tools really for acquiring new customers are email marketing. Very much that cold email does work, and getting it right there. So we do that, and we also combined it with social selling on LinkedIn. We find that a really good tool for building a local ecosystem for flex office brands. And finally, the ones with search intent, we use a lot of PPC, those Google ads as well, and display ads that we really find with, if you want to accelerate leads and you need more leads, that's one of those programs that we offer. We also offer very much being your marketing team and supporting you there across the board, whether it's much more branding and those creative areas to much more systems and processes, to be able to have sort of checklists for scaling your operations. We work with lots of different scaling flexible office brands in that area. And then the final bit is research. I'll come on to now. Research is so important with locations and making sure with those decision makings. Often we come in as the head. Sometimes it's really easy. Your heart, you love something and you really want to expand. We're sometimes those ones putting benchmarking sort of tools in place or scorecards to help with decision making. If you're anything like me, I'm keen to understand data. This is data from Instant Offices, shows the relationship between the square foot and, very much those traditional rates to flex as well. And seeing those ones of comparisons, and that's what we work with clients, really understanding where they're adding the value and the difference there. And constantly we're looking at different locations. Rates are stringently linked to supply and demand dynamics in the market, and it's sometimes highly reactive in the market, so we're constantly monitoring what's happening with different locations and the levels there. By the way, we do have lots of tools and systems and processes. I'm just giving you this whistle-stop tour, as I said, and things. And so that's the thing. What's special about us is the data and blueprints here that we're using to work out market size, and also then the market, serviceable area that's available, and that fits for the right brand in that area as well. So analysing different markets. Just moving the tone a bit. This is Hotel London. Would you stay in this hotel? Yes or no? Think for me, it's a no. Basically, hopefully you're coming to the same conclusions as me. The issue I have with this hotel is inconsistency issues. What we notice is there's a few different brand names being used. There's, we've got the Bridge Hotel being used twice, and then we've also got the City London Hotel. So different colours as well. It's confusion. I wouldn't stay in that place because I don't know what brand name it is. So I think you need to be thinking consistency always from the end user's perspective. So this just highlights to me what would put you off. There's a variety of different styles there. I think I could come to my own conclusions of what they're doing with this place, but it puts me off totally from the branding perspective with all those different logos there. For me, it is consistency does pay. We work with the boutique workspace company. We've created their brand playbook and very much evolve their brand. And what they found is, we've actually proven this, that they were able to increase test rates by 25%. They said, we're working with us and pulling together a playbook and their brand. It was the missing piece of the jigsaw puzzle. As they were confident to sell, they knew what market they were in, and we've continued to work with the boutique workspace company. So this is where getting consistent with your brand and then your execution really does pay dividends. I think that's the one that it makes so much of a difference when you're scaling a flex office brand. Finally, just sort of saying, we're always looking for those next supercharged flex office brands to work with. We can only work with a limited number of clients on their journey. So if you want to know more, do get in touch. We've got a variety of packages, whether it's the brand accelerator, very much there, or the lead accelerator. Those are sort of our entry-level products that we can put in the notes below so you can find out more. We're all about start scaling a flexible office business. Like I said, there's nothing special about me. It's all about the blueprint and the data we use that is independent, and pulling it all together and that knowledge. Here's one of our team socials there, Life Sciences Monopoly. We're all, passionate about profitable expansion. We're ex-corporate people, and we enjoy helping brands. We've worked with them in the hotel and the retail sector expand. And the last 5 years, we've been focused purely on flexible office. We bring that commercial vigor and independent view to the market to support you. That's sometimes so important with scaling. Your participation right to the end means the world to me. I hope you enjoyed the session. By the way, we are here, so do get in touch and book a call with myself there. It's very much, we have limited spots each month. For those joining, me on the call and stuff, I want to say I've got your back. You're going to be our next biggest success stories, and we can't wait to sort of work with you. So do take action now and book a call. Have a great rest of the day. The final thing, if you haven't taken this quiz, do just do that quiz, and so you've got some direction and where you're going with your flexible office brand. Stay tuned for more exciting updates all the time, and sign up to our newsletter as well online. Many thanks. We do hope you enjoyed today's session, and speak to you soon. Thanks, bye.